Hey everyone, today I'll be showing you how to change the brake fluid with the two-person method. These steps generally apply to most cars out there, but I'll be doing this on my Z4. If you hear any specific numbers for tools or the vehicle, please substitute them for your car's specs. So what we're going to need here is a liter of .4 brake fluid, a bleeder bottle, a 9mm wrench, paper towel, some gloves, eye protection, a floor jack, jack stands, and wheel chocks. And some optional things are a fluid extractor, which I'll explain later, 17mm socket if you choose to take off the wheels, along with a breaker bar, wheel hanger pin, and torque wrench. A funnel if you don't have a steady hand and or clumsy like me, and lastly a flathead and pliers. I'll leave all the mentioned items in the links below. So the first thing we will want to do is locate your brake fluid reservoir, which should be behind your steering wheel. Then just give it a quick clean so no debris gets up in there. And now, optionally, you can remove the mesh screen here using a flathead to get a little leverage on the side of the lip and use the pliers to pull it straight out. Be careful since you may get splashed. You only have to do this if you want to remove as much of the fluid as you can out of the reservoir to save some time. But otherwise, we can just flush all this old fluid out through the lines. If you choose to take some fluid out, go ahead and top it off with the new fluid. Pop your mesh back on, then cap it. And just be careful whenever handling the brake fluid. If it gets on any paint, wipe that away immediately with some soapy water. Now I'm going to start with the typical rule of starting with the furthest from the reservoir first, which will be my back right, then back left, front right, then front left. Since I'm starting with the back wheels, I'd want to chalk my front wheels since the fronts freely spin. Then the next optional part is taking off your wheels, since you can probably bleed your lines by just reaching behind. But then again, you wouldn't have to reach as much if you take them off, and plus, I need to film. So, if you are taking off your wheel, don't forget to break the bolts loose on the ground before lifting the car. Then after you lift your car and put them on jack stands, remove the rest of the bolts. Now locate your bleeder valve and remove the cap. In some cases, like my front left brake here, I have to remove an additional cover that is holding my sensor wire and blocking me from using my wrench. Now depending on the type of wrench you have, go ahead and get that on there. Then slide your bottle's tube onto the valve. Then have the other person press down on the brakes and hold it. Now you will slightly open the valve counterclockwise about a fourth turn. While the valve is still open, the person inside may be able to push the pedal down even further to the ground and still have them hold that new lower position. Once that pedal stops moving, you close the valve clockwise and let the other person release the pedal. If in the beginning you chose to keep the reservoir full of old fluid, I would keep flushing until I get down to the low mark on the reservoir. Then top it up with your new fluid. Repeat the pedal pushing and valve opening and closing steps until the fluid is as clear as the new one and with no air bubbles. Also make sure that every several pedal pushes you monitor the reservoir just to make sure it doesn't get too low and top off as needed. Once you are done, test to make sure that the pedal is firm, then recap the valve and move on to the next one. You will simply repeat these steps, but it should be much quicker since all of the fluid in the reservoir should be new and the lines will be getting shorter. And when you're finally done, make sure to top off the brake fluid up to the proper levels. And that's it. I hope that this video has helped you, and thanks for watching.